I just wanted to do a little piece on Erica Kirk from my point of view. I just, I guess, wanted to vent a little bit because we are living in some crazy times, folks, crazy times. And I feel like we are descending into insanity as a collective, as a society, as a country, as a nation, as a world. And we don't stop to really reflect and be in silence and and this is also a message to our leaders. Like, you don't need to treat us like we're stupid or that we lack intelligence, or as you called us, low IQ. Because when you attacked Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and all these people and you called us low IQ, you're attacking the millions of people who tune into these people and consider what they talk about, right? And there's also this false idea that somehow, like, you're a king. And I hate to admit it because I don't consider myself a leftist and I don't consider myself on the right. I'm pretty uh, close to being a libertarian as you can get, right? Live and let live kind of philosophy. Full disclosure, I voted for Trump twice. I also voted for Obama twice. So I loved people like Tulsi Gabbard. Um, I was starting to like Charlie Kirk uh, close about 6 months leading up to the end of his life. I would say about 8 months, right up until he got shot, because I was noticing a pattern with Charlie that was evolving. Charlie was somebody who initially I had huge disagreements with because I felt like his approach maybe wasn't the way I would do it, or, but then I started to see a shift in Charlie's perspective because he's engaging with the public constantly and he was starting to grow. He was starting to become somebody different. And I appreciate when I could see somebody evolve, and grow and become more of an empath with society. And really, I really was starting to see Charlie as somebody who could possibly unite the American populace, despite how vile the rhetoric was coming from the left, where people were attacking him and people celebrating when he got shot. And I thought that was horrific when I saw that part of America because it's nasty. But I want you to know that that kind of behavior exists also from certain people on the right. So it's not like America is this saintly place. We have right now a volatile time in our society where we are that way. We're very tribal. This nation has become very tribalistic. People would jump on the left and dig their heels in and feel morally superior and attack the right, and people on the right will dig their heels in and attack the left, when in reality, we as a people, as a nation, need to become neutral and don't pick sides. We need to be leveraging the politicians against each other so that they compete for our vote. And instead, what we have going on in America is this weird allegiance and loyalty to these people, so much so that it feeds their ego and it makes them feel special. And they start using language like they're chosen and they're above us. And that creates a problem. It allows for corruption of power. And so if we are going to play this experiment of these United States of America, we must have an equal opportunity mindset when we deal with our leaders, when we deal with our politicians, and when we deal with each other, right? Our friendships are based on which tribe are we in? Which group do we belong to? Think about that for a second, right? What kind of friends do you pick? Now, you could go back and find content of me being critical of the left, the leftist radicalized mindset. You'll find me being critical of AOC. I was critical of Joe Biden, Obama, Hillary Clinton. And the left reacted in the exact same way that we are now witnessing from what we call the right, which is Donald Trump, the MAGA movement, TPUSA. And I want to be clear that in my mind, there is no left or right. There's just factions of the exact same thing. So I'm gonna listen to the little clip of Erica Kirk and the speech she gave, and then give my 2 cents on it. The same way I gave my 2 cents on AOC when AOC went and tried to get sympathy with her hoarse voice. And you can see on TikTok, I'll give a link to that video. I also have it on my channel where I was very critical of AOC. So anyway, I'll come back to this point. Let's let Erica talk for a second.
Nothing will ever be enough for the evil in this world. Our country has become unrecognizable. These people have perverted the truth to the point that they motivated the murder of my husband. They have continuously tried to assassinate the president.
Even, I'm going to stop that point right there, because even that's in question. Because Candace and Tucker and myself and the public, and we're all in doubt of really why was Charlie murdered, right? Because there's so much potential evidence or question marks, if you will, around Charlie's death. And the motive behind why Charlie was eliminated has a variety of question marks behind it. We, the public, and I just want this to be clear to TPUSA and to his widow, that we, the public, because you all have been lying to us from the beginning, the entire FBI narrative was a lie. The weapon was a lie. The bullet story was a lie. The fact that a potential meeting may have been viewed at Fort Huachuca, there's some issues around that. Of course, there's question marks, and you guys are saying that's a conspiracy theory, and your alibis don't line up, and timestamps don't match up, and a lot of things don't line up. We are led to speculate. And again, all we have as the public is speculation. We are left to speculate that a potential motive for Charlie's death was probably because Charlie, towards the end of his life, was speaking away from a certain group and a certain nation and becoming more America-oriented, trying to unite the American people. But it didn't line up with what the administration was focused on. The administration was already discussing a conflict with Iran and a particular nation who I cannot name because it's now against our free speech, our constitutional right to mention these people. That's how it's gotten right now. We can't call out a certain nation. We could call out China. We could call out Russia. But oh no, God forbid you talk about this nation. And Charlie was doing that. There's evidence. There's video footage of Charlie doing that. And then all of a sudden, pew, gone. On live broadcast for the world to see, to witness, to be traumatized by it. And to be sent a message that if you speak the way Charlie was speaking, this could happen to you. That's the message I got in subconsciously when I saw that video, because I witnessed it in real time. So I just want to be clear that you are blaming the left or radicalized left for allegedly offing your husband, but we have question marks and clues that lead us to believe otherwise, that Charlie was taken out within his own group or circle of people because he was not towing the line, he was not speaking, and you all saw this as an opportunity to galvanize the MAGA movement by sacrificing a lamb at the altar. Now, this is my speculation. I want to be clear. This is Mahesh, my speculation, purely from observation and deduction. If you don't know what deduction is, look it up. It's in the dictionary. So based on everything we've had playing out, that is what I can deduce. So I wouldn't be so quick to put the blame on the left. Yes. Is there craziness on the left? Yes, I agree. You will find videos of me calling it out. Right? Or what we call the left. But that's what I think, not Candace Owens. That's what I think happened. The man was sacrificed to galvanize a movement and to take a problem out of the equation because his narrative no longer fit the narrative of the establishment, which was a pro-war narrative. Let's move on. So don't be so quick to just point a finger, is what I'm saying, Erica.
And anyone who stands in their way is labeled hateful, racist, fascist, and every other trigger word that is grossly dishonest. All of this we want the best for our country. They don't. This is why Charlie started Turning Point USA in the first place. He didn't.
We agree with you. We know this. We understand why Charlie started it. I totally get it. We are not disputing that point. We agree with that point. We know why Charlie started it. We know why the entire movement began. And initially, it was a noble intent. And it worked. Charlie is the reason President Trump got elected to a large degree. Okay? And we know that the left was shunning people, shutting people down. They were using all kinds of tactics to silence. But let's not be hypocrites, because this is what you're doing in the same breath of this video.
Trust the radicalized liberal teachers. And this past Saturday, it was a school teacher, of all people, a school teacher that attempted to change our history for the worst with bullets. And everyone is asking why I even went to the White House Correspondents Dinner. And it was because many of the journalists in that room.
I wasn't asking that. I didn't give a shit what you were doing. I'm just saying, don't make blanket statements, because that's not true. Most people don't even think about you when they wake up in the morning. You go out of your way to put yourself in people's visual cortex. Every day, we're bombarded with posts and images of you. The grieving widow, TPUSA, oh my God, Charlie's wife. We are so sick of it because you bombard us with it. You throw yourself in our faces. We don't have time to think about what's going on with politics these days. With the prices at the pump, with the food costs rising, not being able to get a job, putting in applications everywhere and can't get work, dealing with inflation at an alarming rate. Yeah, you guys are on there bragging about the stock market. And not everybody's getting the benefit of that. And so now you are upset for something that you have caused.
Have attempted to dehumanize me. And I wanted to meet some of them face to face, quite frankly. Why have a conversation about me when you can have a conversation with me? So, for example, a journalist from the Daily Mail came up to me. She introduced herself, and she was very gracious. She was saying, "You look so beautiful. I'm so sorry for your loss." To which I replied, "It is so nice to put a name to the face, especially with all of the slander, the lies, accusations that are out there surrounding my husband's murder and myself."
Few things I picked up on that. There's a little bit of a manipulation in that statement. Did you catch it? Right? First of all, these people attack these journalists or reporters as if somehow it's personal. These journalists are just doing their job. Clickbait. They write whatever story they need to get the views, and they're tapping into the conversations of the public domain. So by you putting a face to the name of a journalist who's writing stories that are, tapping into the sentiments of the public, what does that do for you? What does that mean? Now, she's going to try to use this to make a point that look at the irony of how good we could be polite to each other, but in reality, we're all out here playing these fake war games, WWE. Yeah, we know that. I get it.
And I said to her, "You know what's so interesting? This is my first time at the White House Correspondents Dinner, and I find it so fascinating, the dynamic that is going on right now, because everyone is all dressed up, and you guys are co-mingling in and out of each other's cocktail parties. And so for one night, you are able to put aside all of your differences for the sake of freedom of speech. And then by Monday morning, things will go back to being an absolute bloodbath between all of you." To which she replied, literally, she said, "I know. Isn't it special, right? Isn't tonight so special?" And following that conversation, it was time to take our seats, and we went into the big ballroom where the dinner was. And one of the first things I noticed when I walked into that room was quite literally the proximity of the opposing outlets to one another. So you have one table here that's Politico, and another table here that's Fox, and another table here that's WAPO, and you're all crammed together, elbow to elbow. And to make the night even more of a spectacle, every single 10-person table had 10 bottles of wine. And the president of the White House Correspondents Association.
So what's your point? That we live in the Roman Empire? This is no different from how Rome was ran thousands of years ago, how Egypt was ran, how the ancient civilizations have been running. Like, what are you pointing out? We know that the entire world is a spectacle. It is a WWE of destruction for the peasantry class, for the class that pays taxes to the government. We know that that's the opportunity when all the wrestlers get to hang out. The WWE, the gladiators, all come into the auditorium and they hang out together and they converse because they understand the game. And so you're not pointing out anything new to us, really. You're not saying anything. You're part of that group. You're just another wrestler in the ring, putting on a show, right? Putting on a show for us, doing your acting, calling out what is obvious to us. We know that this is how the system operates. Create a little faction war, little, the left, the right, the this, the that, the arguments, the bloodbath, as you call it, because that bloodbath is not for you guys. It's for us. We're the ones who are supposed to engage in your bloodbath, right? So what exactly are you pointing out? What's your objective? What's your goal in what you're saying? Where are you going with this? Right? I'm supposed to believe that you feel some kind of way. You feel some kind of way for how our civilization is structured? Really? I'm supposed to buy that from you. When you're participating in it, you're at the White House. You're at the same dinner. You're making this amazing observation. Newsflash. We, the people who are awakening to this stuff, who've seen it for thousands of years on repeat, on a loop, we understand the algorithm of the Matrix. It's just a show. It's just how it goes. We understand it. Right? So you're not giving us some kind of a revelation that we're like, yeah, she blew the doors wide open on this one. But I think I have a hunch why you went to the correspondents' dinner, and it'll come up later.
And she did a great job of trying to make the evening have that feeling of Americana. We were in a room celebrating freedom of speech despite our differences. And the U.S. Marine Band performed the national anthem so beautifully. And then shortly thereafter, gunshots rang out and total chaos ensued. And you guys have all seen what happened next because there are 1,000 videos of it. So
Is there 1,000 videos of it? Because last I checked, there was just one video of it. And it was a grainy film footage with a bunch of weird AI artifacts in it. And it was like a cell phone footage of the actual footage. And I can't find any other footage of this. So I'm going to label this as lie number 1 or exaggeration number 1. And one of the reasons why we don't trust you, Erica, why we don't trust TPUSA, because of this kind of rhetoric. Thousands of footage? Really? Thousands. Because what we see is a curated amount of footage given to the public, one of which is of you walking away crying about how you want to go home. So there's 2 pieces of footage right now flooding the internet. The one with you and the one with the dude darting across the camera. And then you see like the Secret Service has a gun pointed, which there's a whole slew of question marks around this too. It just seems like everywhere you guys go, there's a big question mark around you. There's a big question mark around a lot of things with you guys. Every time you guys show up on the scene, there's just more questions and more ridicule for asking questions. I find that interesting.
Let's discuss that fact for a second. If you were in that room, you had no way of knowing what the status of the shooter was, how many there were, or honestly, really anything. It was just utter chaos. And so during an active shooting, these journalists are using their phones to find moments to capture for clips. They were so concerned about getting a video in a room with an active shooter that they could have accidentally and quite literally filmed themselves being shot. Many of those people have become so desensitized.
You mean the same way that you all have been desensitized around the killing of your own husband? The fact that everyone got to witness your husband take a bullet to the neck or explosive to the neck or whatever. Even there's a question mark around that. And that your TPUSA staff member took his cell phone and felt the need to hop up on the side and film himself reacting to your husband getting shot. You filming a very private, intimate moment holding your husband's dead, cold hands in a coffin and posting it on your social media. The fact that you guys have played out this horrific event with your husband on camera, and you were filmed many times crying in so many different locations, in a drive-by, at the event, backstage. I mean, just constantly under camera observation at every turning point. At every turning moment, you, your staff, and everything surrounding Charlie Kirk was filmed and on camera. And frankly, you're correct. It made us get very desensitized. So what are you saying? I'm sorry I have to pause this video so many times, but you're saying things that contradict everything about you and the organization. Everything is a contradiction and hypocrisy. How are you different from the left? How are you different from your so-called enemy? And I have a feeling I know where you're headed with this, because I feel like you're going to talk about something to do with free speech.
That fight or flight became secondary to the opportunity of putting themselves into the story, which ironically breaks the number one rule of journalism. And again, ironically enough, the shooter was a teacher.
Funny that you use the word irony over and over, because you're very ironic. This whole speech is very ironic.
You have these people who are supposed to be teaching our children the future of this country, and he's so unhinged that he is able to teach children by day and then attempt to murder the president of the United States by night. And in his manifesto, he starts by contextualizing himself by saying, "I am a citizen of the United States of America."
Okay. This is a very complex thing, because human beings can be radicalized over anything, at any time, for any reason. And right now, we're already formulating a theory that this guy was probably plucked out of wherever he was to be used for this event in order to create this exact same scenario we're dealing with right now. Because right after this incident, Trump gets on every social media platform. All of a sudden, it's a push for Erica Kirk, Operation Erica Kirk, which was said by another podcaster I watch. He made a very good point about this. He talks about this. And Operation Ballroom. And yes, we've nicknamed it affectionately the Ballroom, B-A-A-L, not B-A-L-L, because of, how everything's played out. And so we realized right away that this incident was sort of a precursor to pushing an agenda right after, because it's like right after the incident, the agenda begins. The marketing campaign starts, right? So we're being bombarded and gaslit every second of our lives as a society, as a citizenry. We're being told every second what we need to believe and why this happened and how we should interpret something. We're not even allowed to think for ourselves. And somebody else made the case that this is probably an MK Ultra program. Jimmy Dore said this is possibly MK Ultra. This dude was just plucked out and brainwashed. And you don't even need MK Ultra anymore, is what I would like to say, is that we have so much AI and technology that we can scan the entire internet and find someone who's able to be radicalized enough by injecting just enough information or making a deal and getting them to perpetrate this thing, pin him down, and then now we have the precursor to instigate our narrative, whatever the narrative is. So I want people to understand that we're in a new world of technology where you don't need MK Ultra anymore. You don't need a Manchurian candidate anymore. You can pluck out of society whichever crazy you want and sort of like leave a back door open and say, hey, I'm going to leave this entrance open for you. I need you to come in. By the way, I might drop 10 grand on your kid's education or something. Or maybe he has a debt, or maybe he's got child porn on his computer. And it's like, if you don't do this, you're going to go to jail for X amount. It doesn't take much to find a patsy in this world today. It does not take any amount of effort anymore with the technology we have to find a patsy. You can literally have AI strike up a conversation with a human being now and guide them in a direction if you want to, and it will look completely natural and legitimate. So I just wanted to add that as a way for you all to understand what we are dealing with right now. This is not conspiracy. This is actual things that are happening now. Kids are committing suicide while engaging with AI. These are actual real world cases going on right now, because that's how fragile the human brain is. You can easily capture any human being to accomplish any goal. And look at people like Chase Hughes, who worked for the government. Chase Hughes talks about how to find a perfect candidate to brainwash, to use as an asset in the field for whatever reason or operation you need. So to the regular peasant populace who can't wrap their brain around this, you're probably one of the people who could be programmed to do this exact same thing. To show up at a particular event, perform a certain action, you get taken down, and then boom, we got ourselves a nice story for the media. Let's get that ballroom built. And how dare you attack a widow?
And while we may have big problems with illegal immigration in this country, I have to tell you, we have an even bigger problem when it comes to the systemic indoctrination and radicalization of our own citizens.
Like right now.
This is what got my husband killed. This is what has led to 3 legitimate attempts on President Trump's life. And I can speak firsthand to that unbearable toll that this must take on our First Lady. There has never been a president who has faced this many assassination attempts in America.
JFK comes to mind. Abraham Lincoln comes to mind. Who else? Is it Andrew Jackson? Another one? I mean, again, another lie. Why are you exaggerating and making another lie? That's not true. Presidents face danger all the time. Leaders in general. That's why we have the Secret Service. And by the way, may I add, the Secret Service has been very incompetent when it comes to protecting the president lately. Haven't they? Doesn't that alone raise questions to you, the public, about the incompetence of the Secret Service and the FBI and the CIA? And somehow they always seem to arrest regular, everyday people. They can bang down on my door right now and take me away. But good luck getting them to clamp down on the whole Epstein debacle, or the real cartels who push the drugs through the world and invest their money in our stock market, or to actually go after corrupt politicians. You will never see it. Instead, they come after people like me and you. Forget to pay your taxes for one day or for 1 year and find out how quick you have a free country. So these people are so divorced from reality because maybe they live in La La Land. Maybe they got the checks clearing every month. So they have that luxury, I guess. I don't know. But it's like every time they speak, you catch another lie.
Americans' entire history.
Entire history.
And after each one, the reaction from the far left has been, at best, a shrug, and in some cases, a sick disappointment that the shooter was unsuccessful. We are all human beings.
Exactly, Erica. We're all human beings. So what exactly is the point of this message that you're saying right now? Are you trying to unite America? Or are you trying to put Americans against Americans? Where there's a right versus a left? What is your objective in what you're speaking right now? We know radicalization exists. It does exist. It exists just as much on the right as it does on the left. It's just in different ways, in different formats. So what is your goal? I am starting to see this turn very political right now as you speak, because now I'm starting to see your agenda reveal itself.
And if you can just pause and just take a minute and ask yourself, how would you feel if even just one person made cruel jokes about the attempted murder of your loved one?
Have you been on the internet lately? I can go through some of my comment sections. I've had people tell me to keel over and die for no reason, just a regular Tuesday. That's the world we live in. That's the sad, unfortunate truth about free speech. See, trying to control speech is not going to solve our problem, people. Elevating human consciousness and uniting us as a human species, as one people under God, that's where we win. That's the angle of approach that I was expecting from TPUSA, that I was expecting from the MAGA movement, that I was expecting from Donald Trump. And instead, all I'm seeing is a radicalization taking root all over again, just like it did on the left, which proves tribal groupthink all over again. I don't know how else people are going to see through this bullshit. I told you this was leading here. They're going to try to find every way possible to clamp down on free speech. Just as much as they did under Joe Biden, just as much as they tried to do when the Democrats were in power, now the Republicans are in power, and they're pushing the exact same agenda under a different guise. Actually, the guise is almost the same. They're just pointing a finger at the other side, going, well, look, they said that they want us to die. We need to clamp down on free speech. What did you all think was going to happen when you posted this video? I honestly want to think who, in the mind of these people at TPUSA, do you guys really think that this is the route you need to go to get into the minds of your citizen public? Or you're just trying to rally your crowd the same way the Democrats rallied their crowd to burn down cities with BLM and the entire gender ideology thing and the DEI things that were going on and the No Kings protest? Like, how are you different? Where is the difference? I thought we were going to unite the country. I thought we were going to bring Americans together as one. I thought we were going to show everybody how we are the more sane, the more rational group. We understand that what matters to America is the Americana, the togetherness, the ability to have disagreement in discourse, to not see eye to eye, but to know that under one banner we're fighting to make America great. And that we're going to cut back on all this spending. And we're going to try to make sure that American citizens can actually start feeling some, like the foot off their necks, which we've had for decades. And that politicians weren't just going to profit off of us. and just enrich themselves and their families and gives them their families contracts in the government. And that this money would circulate and people would start feeling like they can breathe again. But instead, we're being put against each other with this bullshit, with this nonsense. You see my point? What did TPUSA team think this was going to do? By having a widow, Erica Kirk, who endured, whether she's genuinely doing it or not, or whatever, or grieved differently, or what, put that aside. How is this helping the American public? Because at the end of the day, when you are in the public light, or you are in office, or you are a politician, or you are somebody in the public eye, you decided to take that role ideally because you wanted to give back to your country. Not for your own self-aggrandizement, or for your popularity, or for the fact that, you know, maybe I get to live a good lifestyle, but because you know that it takes real grit and you have to have real armor. I'll give it to Trump. I will give credit to Trump. Trump, hands down, has got the grit. The only problem is, you know, he can't take criticism. He's a little too egotistical, but that's neither here nor there. That's just politicians, right? He's got to do it. But you should have learned something from your great, fearless leader. What you're doing right here is trying to play on sympathy. It's not going to get you very far, Erica. I don't think it is. Maybe it will for your core little group of supporters, but TPUSA is under trouble right now. You guys, I predicted it that TPUSA was going to collapse. It's going to die with Charlie. Because what you people aren't understanding, that Charlie was TPUSA. Right? He was. And you guys talk about, oh, we have all this footage and we're going to put out all this footage and we're going to, you know, we're going to use the likeness of Charlie and keep the organization going. We don't need him alive. You said that on one of your episodes. I remember watching your episode and my jaw dropped. How you were bragging about how you guys had so much content, the content when we went to Korea and the content where we were traveling and we went on vacation. We have all this content that's so cool. And we got so much content that we could pump out with Charlie. We own the rights to Charlie's image. That we are going to profit big. Charlie is going to be talking from beyond the grave. But instead, what we saw was you parading yourself around as a grieving widow, allegedly, and all his friends talking about how we shouldn't be asking questions. Why is the narrative going off the rails? Why are people doubting what happened? I don't get it. Blah, 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 blah. Lies, 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 lies. And that's what we got from the organization since Charlie's passing. Since Charlie was taken. Right? And then you want to know why people come up with conspiracy theories? Because we catch the lies. We see the lying constantly. We're not idiots. As much as you look down on us as the peasant class, we're not idiots. I have my own theories, by the way. And that's my right. That's my freedom as an American citizen. That's my freedom to have speculation, to investigate, to inquire, to ask questions. Even Charlie Kirk himself said, ask questions. Your own husband said to his following, this isn't America until you ask questions. But you guys cherry pick and pluck and choose certain aspects of Charlie's life to try and silence that. And we're picking up on it.
That is what Jimmy Kimmel did to the First Lady. He said that she had the glow of an expected widow.
Ooh. So a comedian makes a joke, just like Drewski did whiteface for you, and you freaked out about that. Do you see how you're just like the left? Do you see how you have the exact same behavior as the left? The same fragility? The same moral grandstanding? How are you not reflecting on that? How are you not seeing that that's the exact same thing that was coming from the left Anytime somebody had something to say about Hunter Biden and the laptops, anytime somebody said something about Joe Biden being Sleepy Joe, and they would come after us for pointing out these things. The same way that we talk about Hillary Clinton being a criminal and she should be in jail. Oh, they're anti-woman. And we'd get attacked and we'd get shunned. We'd be labeled Nazi and all. What are you doing right now? You just 5 minutes ago were saying the same thing about the left. And now here we are full circle. You are talking just like the left. The same fragility. The same, oh. So what is the point of what you're saying here? Are you saying we need to control the speech now? Is that where this point is going? Is that what you're saying? Look at those eyes.
The glow of an expected widow.
Snake eyes.
Just 48 hours before that nightmare almost became a reality. In this culture we're living in, absorbs disagreement as a form of personal betrayal. It turns having an opposing viewpoint into a moral crime worthy of punishment. And here's what I've realized.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we agree on that point. There's something we agree on, Erica.
Through all of this, truly, having lived through quite literal hell these past 7 months, if you strip someone of their humanity long enough, you will arrive at the chilling conclusion that they don't deserve to exist at all.
Yeah. We agree with that. Yeah. Think about what you just said. That's very that's a very true statement, Erica. That's a very true statement. You just said it. I wonder who has been stripping humanity from who these last few months. Who has been justifying dehumanizing a segment of the global population for their religion, so therefore we justify dropping bombs and killing them? Who does that? Could it be somebody who is sending your organization a large amount of money, who your husband was starting to call out towards the end of his life? I'm glad you brought up that point, because since this whole thing's been going on, there's been a lot of dehumanizing language coming from TPUSA and from the Republican Party and from everyone who label themselves the right. They've been using a lot of this dehumanizing rhetoric about other human beings on planet Earth who may have a different type of religion. Yeah, I agree with you, Erica. You're pointing out something here, very important. Dehumanization. Where, you mean like how Laura Loomer, your friend, is out there calling Candace Owens a nappy head so-and-so? Dehumanizing people. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. We live in a country where people are dehumanizing other human beings for an agenda. Wow, that was a powerful, insightful thing that's probably the most insightful thing you've said in this entire speech. My question is, are you able to look at the hypocrisy in the statement? Are you able to reflect on what you're saying? Because and you're right, we're living in this volatile time right now where it's like an argument or a disagreement is to justify this kind of treatment towards this dehumanizing treatment towards each other. We'll wrap it up. We're getting close.
Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO. And I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my...
Another lie. I watch Candace Owens like a hawk. Now, I saw Andrew Kovart put out a tweet or a segment of a chat that was going between Candace Owens and him, and he said that that was what that was about. But that's obviously taken out of context because I watch Candace Owens' show along with Tucker, and I watch everybody. I even watch TPUSA because I keep thinking that maybe TPUSA is going to come around and they're going to really own it and they're going to really save this. Because I was rooting for TPUSA because I wanted Charlie's legacy to really live through the organization as it was. And so I was looking for that. So I would watch the show, but it was just one disappointment after another, watching TPUSA crash and burn. Lie after lie, attack after attack, taking the Mark Levin approach. And if you all don't know who Mark Levin is, go listen to a few episodes of Mark Levin. If you have a brain cell left in you, you start to see this pattern of dehumanization of other people you disagree with. Sit with that for a second. I want you to see the pattern that Erica Kirk just pointed out about dehumanization of other human beings you disagree with. People like Laura Loomer, Mark Levin, the people closest to Trump's ear right now. I'm telling you, with all my heart, I had high hopes for TPUSA. I really did. And instead, it ended up becoming this large leftist organization, this leftist movement. And why do I call it a leftist movement? Because everything they have been pointing a finger to the leftists for doing, they have been doing. The lying, the fraudulent behavior, the taking things out of context, skewing things, attacking, personal attacks, character attacks. Shunning people, canceling people, shouting down people, insulting, calling everything conspiracy theory. Y'all weren't doing that when Trump was running for election. You see what happened there? You see the bait and switch? I am just trying to hold a mirror up to us as a country and say, what the F are we doing? What are we doing? Are we that blind? Are we that lacking in self-awareness as a country that we don't see that we're playing ourselves? That we don't see that we're playing ourselves out of existing? She's talking about dehumanization and this and that and all these things. And come on, hello. Now she's talking about what she has to deal with when she wakes up in the morning. Let me ask you, America, what do you deal with when you wake up every morning? Let me ask everybody out there who's dealing with disease, illness, a loved one who lost their life, a widow, a drug addict, someone who lost their job, someone who's going through a divorce, someone who has to deal with the hardships of life every day, someone who's always getting bullied or attacked online or at their workplace, people being trafficked, babies being aborted. I mean, the list goes on, man. What am I supposed to feel when you say this to me, Erica? As a citizen of the country, as someone who loved your husband, truly did, towards the end of his life, what is your objective with that statement? Am I supposed to have some kind of sympathy and be like, oh no, I shouldn't question anything. I shouldn't have any doubts. I shouldn't feel like, something doesn't feel right here because grieving widow, oh, boo-hoo. Or, we shouldn't really pick on this girl because she's pretty and she's a widow and she's been through a lot because nobody else on planet Earth has been through anything like she has. Nobody else has to suffer like she has to suffer. There's a little bit of a self-righteousness or self-entitlement in what you're doing right there, in that little clip. And people pick up on that. People pick up. This is why I'm stopping the video every time I'm going along, because I'm trying to help you. It may not look like I'm trying to help you, but I'm trying to help you see why you're getting backlash from the public. Why you're rubbing people the wrong way. Why you're brushing up against something that you're like, what's going on right? And now all you're left with is calling the MAGA movement leftist. So 4 years ago, when Biden was in office, anybody who was in opposition of what the Biden administration was doing, we were labeled, like me, we were labeled right wingers, because we wanted better healthcare, better economy, better immigration, better all these things that Trump promised, no more wars. We were considered hardcore right wingers. And now here we are, fast forward, Trump's in office, MAGA won, a movement that your husband really made happen. So credit there. And now when we start to question policies of this administration, now we just got labeled hardcore leftist. Now we're leftist. Now we're Democrat. You see the game? It's like fucking ping pong. Emotional ping pong. We're left with nothing but to be politically homeless. Because this is the game you people play with us at the top. You weaponize our emotion, you weaponize our feelings and our hearts, and you toss us from left to right, right to left, constantly. You leave us without a home, literally, figuratively and physically. We're left feeling, and then we're supposed to feel sorry for you. We're supposed to have compassion for you. Where is your compassion for us? Why weren't you fighting for us? Why aren't you out there talking in President Trump's ear about the same way that your husband was talking to President Trump every day? Your husband fought for us. Your husband spoke in his ear, so much so that it got him killed. And you're out here boo-hoo crying because you took over as CEO of his company, and now you can't take the heat. And instead of fighting for the American people, instead of fighting for us, trying to get us better health care, get us better education, get us better housing, get us better something. Instead of fighting for us, you're out here playing, oh my God, people are talking about me. Oh my God, I can't deal with this nonsense. Oh my God, my feelings are hurt. Oh my God, what's going on? Why can't people just shut up and believe what we say? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This is where people pick up on that shit. I don't know, man. I don't know how else to express it. I don't know how else for you to see it. You're too worried about some comedian saying something about you. How about you say, screw that comedian? Yeah, all right, cool. But now it's time to get to work for the American people. What can I get for the American people? Elections are coming up. What can TPUSA to help get Americans to restore the confidence in President Trump again? What do we need to do? Let's get out there. Let's listen. Let's look at the reviews. Let's look at the actual numbers. Let's have conversation. Let's go on this podcast and that podcast. Let's talk to people. Let's go to the schools. Let's find out. Let's find out what the American public is craving. Your husband did that. Your husband did that job. Your husband did the work. Your husband stuck his shit and he went into the universities and talked to people and fought for America. Literally, free speech. Come up to the podium. Tell me what you think. What's going on in America? He would have his argument. Debates would happen. Disagreement, blah, blah, blah. Little educational moment. And like that, he built the MAGA movement. And here you are, sitting in the throne, and you can't fucking take the heat. You can't. You're falling apart. Because this little, whatever this was here, this is you falling apart. In my eye, you're falling apart. You can't take the heat. You know why? You're too focused on yourself. You're too focused on how you are seen. You're too focused on your image. You're too focused on how is this affecting Erica Kirk. If you were really sincere, Erica, if you were really sincere, you wouldn't be fighting to protect your image. You'd be fighting for what the organization was built to do, which was to educate and to fight for something for the American people. That's what Charlie was doing. And we who have been paying attention, we're watching that since Charlie has been taken, this is what we're left with. bunch of boohoo crying and running interference and, oh no, Candace said some shit and Tucker Carlson and oh my God, and we got to attack this one and we got to fight back. And the lack of awareness. Or maybe and when you talk about evil, to me, what you guys are doing is evil. Because it's vindictive, it's manipulative, it's mind altering, it's a narrative control, it's anything that tries to avoid truth is evil. Anything that tries to divide a nation and divide Democrats against Republicans, left versus right, is evil. And don't pretend that you all aren't benefiting from this division. When you talked about the White House press conference, everybody in the same room, because we know the game. That's the game the elites play. The Roman Colosseum, the gladiator fight, pick a side. But at the end of the day, who owned those gladiators? Who pays those gladiators? Dana White was at the event. Dana White was there. That's the new Colosseum. That's the new Roman Empire, baby. There's a clip from Dana White where he says, like, man, I didn't duck down at all. I was looking at the whole thing, taking it in. I looked around at how everybody was just a bunch of Dana White, man. Dana White's pretty cool. I like Dana. Purely because he just speaks raw. He just speaks truth. You see, Americans are craving truth. Americans are craving reality. People are just fed up with the same BS being fed to them over and over. Whether it's coming from the left or the right, whatever side you want to, tribe you want to pick.
My husband, and the list goes on. People saying I'm not fit to be CEO, and I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband.
You're not fit to be a CEO. I'm telling you to your face. You're not fit to be a CEO. Because a CEO wouldn't behave like this. Real non-CEO vibes here. Your concern is running interference. And Candace Owens, I've seen her show. She's never said you murdered. We say that. We the public, we believe you had a part to play. I'm telling you right now. We, the American public, we believe you had some part to play in his demise. Because the more you and TPUSA run interference, the more we go, this is pretty fishy. Why don't they want to investigate? Why don't they want to go down the rabbit hole? Why don't they want to turn over every stone that they could turn over? Because now it begins to, and don't pretend that this doesn't, Jesus Christ was betrayed by his own disciple, Judas. So what world are you people living in? Where's the cognitive dissonance here? Where's that coming from? Unless you have something to hide. Now do you see where the suspicion is coming into the public domain? Now do you see why people are doing Drewski whiteface on you? Now do you start to see the picture? Is there some part of this sinking into your psyche at all? Where you can go, yeah, okay, I see it now. Okay, we got to strategize. We got to move different now. We got to shift things up a little bit. Although I think personally, and this is just my personal opinion, I think you guys are dead. You're dead in the water. The TPUSA is officially dead in my book. Again, personally, my book. You guys may be able to pull through. I don't know. I really don't know.
And the list goes on.
And it will continue to go on.
And on. There is a serious epidemic of dehumanization plaguing this country.
Oh, no shit. No shit, Sherlock. Except you all only notice dehumanization when it's coming from the other side. You don't notice it from your side. You all could look across the river and see those people over there. They're dehumanizing me and us and them and we. But you can't look in the mirror. Let me do some more ASMR of my poutiness. I mean, I at what point do you all wake up and see the light of God in your heart? I grew up in the era of Michael Jackson, baby. Heal the world, make it and the other one, we are the world. Like, that's the era I came up in. And then somewhere around 2016, 2015, shit just went haywire. Left versus right, blue versus red, bleh. And on it went. In one lifetime, I watched this American culture, Americana culture, go from Rage Against the Machine to like, well, you better bow down to the machine, otherwise, something's wrong with you. Regardless of who is in office, regardless of which side you think you're on. Where's the Americana spirit of facing things head on with courage, with tenacity, with true debate, true argument? That's what free speech was for, was to protect disagreement. Some make the claim that the Second Amendment was to protect the First Amendment. Who knows? But right now, that's a whole other story, because with the advent of AI, this video is not going to go anywhere either. It's probably being ratioed right now or freaking censored as we speak. Got one viewer, right? So like, where are we headed as a collective, as a species, as a people, as a group? I agree with you, Erica. We are living in a time of dehumanization. But you should really stop and ask yourself, where do you play a part in all of this? What are you fighting for? I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, much love and respect to everybody. Even Erica. I wish the best for you. I really do. I hope you get to just go live a peaceful life and raise your kids, and I don't know if somebody talked you into taking the CEO position or what the case was, but it's not a good look on you. And what does being a CEO really mean? We have to ask that question. What does being a leader really mean? We have to ask that question to ourselves. Each one of us, by the way. Not just Erica. Every one of us. Whether you're a father, an uncle, a boss, a manager, even just in your own life. What are we doing in our moment-to-moment existence? How are we helping the situation? Are we living just for our own self-aggrandizement, or are we helping society? Are we helping each other? Are we helping the community? Are we helping build a nation? I don't know, man. I know this rant is going to come across however it's going to come across, but I just wanted to give my pure, unadulterated reaction in real time for you to see, and for you guys to really think about what's going on right now. People are fed up and tired of the emotional manipulation. People are tired of feeling gaslit at every level of society. I thought it was funny that all these people are diving under tables at this event. Like, it shows you the level of cowardice that exists at the highest levels. Trump's really the only Spartan I saw in that room. Trump and Dana White were the only two Spartans I saw. Trump had a smile on his face and stood behind the curtain, watched the whole thing play out. And Dana White was just like, yeah, he's just looking around. He's like, look at all these people crouching on the tables. That's some real gangster shit. That's kind of how we would like to see our leaders be. Stand up while a hail of bullets rain down, or arrows. Show that you're willing to die for your country, just like those soldiers going into battle. To die for you. That's a side point that I just wanted to point out about that White House Correspondents Dinner. All right, guys. Thanks for my little rant today on this situation, and I hope you guys have a good one. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys on the next one. And we'll see how it goes. God bless. Take care. Peace out.